Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're venturing into something pretty intense. It's a deeply unsettling personal account.
Yeah, it's the written testimony of an anonymous individual, and it details a marriage that just unravels into psychological manipulation, and then there's this disturbing disappearance.
Exactly. We're working from her narrative, her testimony. So we're going to treat it as her lived experience and really explore the layers here.
And that's key, isn't it? It's her experience, subjective. Our aim isn't to, definitively prove anything, but to understand the dynamics she describes, the patterns.
Right. So let's set the scene first. She talks about the initial 5 years with her husband, Mark, a software engineer.
And the picture she paints is predictable, quiet, almost meticulously safe on the surface.
Yeah, she mentions specific routines, like the type of shirt he wore, how his books had to be arranged just so, even only liking one specific kind of vanilla ice cream. It's very ordered,
That initial focus on routine, it's interesting because, well, it can feel like stability, right? But
but it can mask other things.
exactly, a need for control, maybe, an intolerance for anything outside the lines. And for her, what started as perhaps comforting?
Became suffocating. That's the word she uses.
Right. Because underneath that tidy surface, she felt increasingly alone.
She mentions infrequent intimacy, Mark working late all the time, conversations that were just shallow,
Hmm.
polite.
Like living with a polite stranger, she says.
Yeah. So that shared comfort, it just evaporated, leaving this big emotional gap.
And that gap, that emotional void, it's really critical here. It creates a vulnerability, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of sets the stage for her looking for connections somewhere else. It makes you think about how those disconnects can creep in.
And that's when Adam enters the story. He's a contractor, friend of her friend. They hire him to redo the kitchen.
And the description of him is such a stark contrast to Mark.
Totally different energy.
Mhm.
Ex-military, she mentions tattooed hands, piercing eyes,
Mm.
even his scent, sawdust, and danger, she calls it.
Wow, yeah, the sensory details are strong. He's the opposite of the predictable, maybe slightly sterile Mark.
He represents vitality, maybe the unknown.
And for her, crucially, a feeling of being seen, really seen, alive, something she hadn't felt for a long time, it sounds like.
She really emphasizes that feeling. And it doesn't take long for it to become an affair.
Kept secret, of course. Daytime meetings, deleted messages, clearing call logs, all that stuff.
And she genuinely believes she was being so careful. Invisible, even.
Which is common, that belief in your own secrecy. But it often overlooks the small tells, doesn't it? Changes in behavior that a partner, especially maybe an observant one,
Or a controlling one.
right, might pick up on, even before any, concrete proof.
Well, this leads to the most chilling part, really. The discovery.
Hmm.
Mark had installed hidden cameras in the light switches
Yeah.
and audio recording gear in the smoke detector throughout the house.
That's, wow, the scale of that. It's not just suspicion anymore, is it? It's active, invasive surveillance.
It's a massive violation,
Yeah.
a huge escalation beyond just marital problems.
It signals this deep, deep distrust and a need for absolute control over her life, her reality.
And looking back, she starts seeing signs she missed earlier. Things Mark did, or rather stopped doing.
Like what?
Like asking those normal, everyday questions. How was your day? Who called? Stuff like that.
Ah, so the engagement just dropped off.
Yeah, replaced by silence. And she mentions this steadying smile he sometimes had.
That's unnerving. The lack of normal interaction replaced by observation, it suggests he wasn't relating to her emotionally anymore, but maybe gathering data, treating her like a subject.
There's one comment he made that she mentions. It really stands out in hindsight. She came home late one night, lied about being with a friend,
Okay.
and Mark just looked at her and said, "You looked happy. I like that on you."
Oof. Okay, taken alone, maybe it's nothing. Bit odd, but
But knowing what came later,
Mhm.
it feels sinister. Like he wasn't happy for her. He was just noting it, confirming something for himself.
it fits that pattern of manipulation, using seemingly positive words to mask something else entirely.
Around the same time, Adam, the contractor, he starts getting paranoid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he mentioned seeing a black SUV, feeling like he's being followed after leaving her house.
Mhm. And did she believe him?
Not really, not at first. She kind of brushed it off. Maybe denial, maybe just focused on keeping the affair secret herself.
Right. It adds another layer of tension, though. This feeling of a net closing in, whether it was Mark directly or just general paranoia building.
And then the narrator starts feeling uneasy herself. In the house.
How so?
Just weird feelings, like the walls closing in, taps running too long, mirrors feeling off, Just a general sense of being watched.
Your subconscious picking up on things, maybe? That feeling you get?
And she specifically mentions thinking she saw movement on the hallway security camera feed once. The one Mark said was just for, regular security.
So the thing meant for safety becomes a source of anxiety. That's insidious. It completely undermines her sense of security in her own home.
Then Mark starts leaving notes.
Notes. Like confession notes?
No, that's the creepy part. They seem sweet on the surface. You're glowing lately, left on her pillow. Hope lunch tastes as good as you look. Inside the fridge, you're full of surprises. Stuck to the shower wall.
Wow. Okay, that's not sweet in this context. That's surveillance disguised as affection.
Exactly. It just ramps up that feeling of being constantly observed. A subtle psychological turn of the screw.
It's control without direct confrontation. Very manipulative.
And then comes the first envelope, plain and white, left for her to find.
And inside?
3 photos. Her, Adam, their bed.
Oh, wow. Just the direct proof.
Her reaction is physical. She describes feeling cold, her fingers going numb, feeling faint.
I can only imagine. The floor dropping out from under you.
And then Mark just appears, calmly,
Oh.
holding a USB drive.
Oh, no.
And he says, that's just the highlights. I've got the full footage backed up.
The coldness of that, the calculation, it's not about hurt. It's about power. Inflicting maximum damage.
Totally. That USB drive, it's like a weaponized record of her betrayal, proof of his total surveillance.
So what happens then? A huge fight.
That's what you'd expect, right? But no, it's almost anticlimactic, but in a terrifying way.
Yeah.
Mark just leaves the room.
Leaves the room.
Yeah. And the next morning, he's gone.
Gone. Like, packed his bags and left.
No, that's the thing. Nothing's packed. His car is still there. His phone is on the charger, wallet on the dresser. He just evaporated.
Vanished. Okay. That's
Yeah.
deeply strange.
And she can't reach him. He doesn't show up for work for 2 days. It's eerie.
So he confronts her, drops this bombshell, and then just disappears.
And then comes the really chilling realization. She remembers the night before the confrontation, she thought he was away on a work trip,
Okay.
but he was home. He must have been. Because he casually asked her, so, what do we do now? Well, she thought he was miles away. He was there, watching her, knowing everything.
Oh my God. The level of deception, playing dumb while holding all the cards.
His disappearance then feels pre-planned, doesn't it? Like another move in the game, leaving her in limbo, terrified.
Definitely. It destabilizes her completely. Uncertainty, fear.
And then the anonymous texts start.
Oh, of course. From who?
Unknown number. Burner phone, she assumes, because they're untraceable.
And what do they say?
Threats. About showing the evidence, the photos, the footage,
Yeah.
to Adam's wife, to the narrator's mother.
Ugh. Expanding the psychological warfare, isolating her, ramping up the fear.
Using Shane as a weapon.
Yeah, pure intimidation. And then Adam disappears too.
What? Adam vanishes. How?
His phone just goes dead. She goes to his place. The door's slightly open, cracked. His home is empty. No sign of him.
Okay, now this is escalating beyond psychological games. Cracked door, empty house. That sounds ominous.
It adds this very real possibility of physical danger, right? Was Mark involved? What happened to Adam? It terrifies her even more.
Understandably, the ambiguity is terrifying in itself.
Then she finds something else, a second USB drive, hidden under her side of the bed.
Oh, God, more footage.
Worse, in a way. She calls it a disturbing diary. It has clips, yeah, but also timelines, voice memos, and Mark's own notes like psychological breakdowns.
What kind of breakdowns? Him analyzing her. Tiny behaviors. She touches her hair when she lies. She closes her laptop 0.7 seconds faster when she's deleting something.
That level of obsessive scrutiny, it's pathological.
And this quote, I think she wants to be caught.
Wow. Justifying his own invasion of her privacy by projecting it onto her, that's quite a twist. It reveals so much about his mindset, that need for control, that warped perception.
Reading this, watching these clips, she completely loses it.
Yeah.
Crying, screaming. She even mentions manic laughter. Just a total break with reality as she knew it.
It's the confrontation with the sheer depth of his deception, his obsession. It would shatter anyone's sense of self, their understanding of their whole life together.
So eventually she does go to the police. But
it's hard to explain this kind of thing, right? Psychological manipulation isn't like a black eye.
exactly. She downplays it. Says
Yeah.
Mark just needed space. Didn't mention the surveillance, the threats, Adam's disappearance. Not really.
Fear, shame, maybe even some misplaced desire to protect him or herself from further fallout. It happens.
In the police. They're polite, take a report, but don't really dig deep. No clear evidence of a crime against her at that point.
It highlights a huge challenge. How do authorities handle this kind of invisible abuse, especially when the victim is hesitant?
There, another envelope arrives, the third one.
What now?
Inside is a marriage certificate for her and Mark.
Okay.
So the date is wrong by 5 years, making it earlier than they actually married. The witnesses' names are people she's never heard of, and the location is listed as Nevada. None of it is real. None of it matches her memory.
Wait, a fake marriage certificate from before they officially married?
Yeah, and there's the sticky note attached that says, "You never really knew me, and I never stopped watching you."
Okay, that is deeply creepy. It suggests this wasn't just about the affair. This goes way back.
That's what she realizes. She tries to check the details, the church, the pastor named, the witnesses, dead ends, fabricated identities, everything fake.
So he created a false history.
It seems like it. The horrifying thought hits her. Maybe he was planning something like this long before the affair. Maybe before Adam even existed.
It shifts the whole narrative, doesn't it? From revenge triggered by
To
infidelity.
something meticulously designed, calculated long-term deception. It's not just reactive, it's proactive, planned manipulation. Utterly sinister.
So what's the end game? What does he want?
Well, the next step seems to offer or force some kind of answer. A box arrives.
Another delivery.
Inside, a burner phone,
Right.
a single key, and a note.
Let me guess. Cryptic and demanding.
You got it. If you want to know the truth, room 308.
Grenade.
Tonight, no police.
She goes into what sounds like a trap.
She does. She's desperate for answers. You can understand why. After everything, the need to know to confront the reality. It must be overwhelming.
It's like he's pulling our strings, exploiting that very desperation, maintaining control even from afar.
So she gets to the motel, room 308. It's completely sterile, untouched, empty.
Waiting.
Then the TV flicks on by itself.
Oh, here we go.
And it's Mark on the screen, wearing a blue hoodie. He looks directly at the camera, at her.
What does he say?
He says, "You lied to me. But that's not why we're here. We're here because I wanted to who you really were. And now I know."
Who she really was. What does that even mean in his twisted logic?
And then the screen starts playing footage, looping clips of her with Adam, interspersed with clips of her lying to Mark about where she'd been.
Psychological torture, basically. Forcing her to watch.
His voiceover comes on. He says, "You said you felt invisible. I just gave you what you wanted, someone who sees you."
Oh, that is warped. Twisting her words, her feelings about the marriage, into a justification for his insane level of surveillance and control. This astounding.
But then the video feed suddenly changes. It cuts to new footage.
What is it?
It's Adam, tied to a chair.
Oh, God. Is he okay?
He's bruised, looks terrified, but alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mark walks into the frame.
Mark is with him.
Yes. Yeah. Mark looks at Adam, then back at the camera, at the narrator, presumably watching, and he asks, "He said he loved you, but I wonder if he'll say the same now."
Amen.
The screen cuts to black.
Leaving her with that image, Adam's fate completely unknown, Mark potentially about to do something terrible.
Yeah.
The threat is now explicit, physical.
Yeah. It moves beyond just her and Mark. Adam is physically endangered.
What happens in the motel room then? After the video cuts out?
It's chaotic, almost dreamlike, she says. The lights suddenly go out. She's plunged into darkness, trapped for a moment.
Yeah, Nick.
Then the lights flicker back on, and the room is empty again, just like she found it. Mark, the setup, everything, gone.
He was controlling the environment remotely.
Yeah.
Or was someone else there? It just adds to the confusion and fear.
She manages to get out, escapes, runs back home. But that's kind of where the active part of the story ends.
Meaning?
Mark never comes back. There's no more contact, no notes, no texts, nothing. No police reports are ever filed about him, by him.
In Adam.
Never found.
Yeah.
Vanished without a trace after that video.
So, no resolution at all.
None. 6 months later, when she's writing this account, she's living in constant fear, paranoia, looking over her shoulder.
The lack of closure must be unbearable. Living in that state of perpetual anxiety, not knowing where Mark is, what happened to Adam, the psychological toll is immense.
And as she ends her account with this warning, it's pretty stark.
What does she say?
Don't trust the quiet ones. They see everything, even the parts of you you try to hide.
A chilling final thought. While maybe a generalization, it speaks directly to her experience, doesn't it? The danger hidden behind a seemingly calm facade.
So wrapping this up, we've looked at this incredibly disturbing story. A marriage that wasn't just unhappy, but hid this extreme level of Surveillance manipulation.
and potentially orchestrated disappearances. Mark's actions went so far beyond simple revenge for infidelity. It felt like a meticulously planned, deeply psychological campaign.
Right, a campaign of control.
And hearing this, you can't help but feel uneasy, maybe shocked. It really makes you question things about relationships, about trust, about what might be hidden.
Absolutely. Which brings us to a final thought, something for you to maybe ponder.
Hmm.
In our world now, with so much connection, so much potential for, well, unseen observation, what are the subtle signs?
The subtle signs of control, of manipulation in relationships, and maybe more importantly, how easily can we miss them until it's too late?
Because this story ultimately isn't just about an affair gone wrong. It's a descent into a terrifying unknown. And for the narrator, the aftermath is unresolved, leaving this lingering sense of dread.